All right, good afternoon, Ghana. Welcome to the program. We have a program analysis today, and that has to do with the economy, definitely. Over the weekend, we've had another downgrade. That's from S&P. We've been talking about it on radio, on TV. New developments have come up. We have Guto has come out with a statement. Remember, today on Good Morning Ghana, I made reference to some warnings they have giving that their members want to embark on a demonstration. They have indicated how the fall of the cedi is, putting very serious pressure on their businesses. Something has come up again where another new release has, been given to us. I'll give you the details. We have also a former member of parliament who was the chairman of the finance committee, Dr. Marcus Sibe Yabua, who has given some suggestions to government of a fund that will be more like an emergency fund to be set up to safeguard the situation as it is for now. We also have Daniel Osabuti, an economist, who will join us in this analysis to tell us where we're going from here, because I think the situation just keeps getting murkier and gloomy as it seems already. Let's go for a break. This is Good Afternoon Ghana. I am Ania Fampofu. I'll be joined by these gentlemen, and then we'll get into it. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to the program. It's Good Afternoon Ghana. Now, let's just go through the S&P ratings and what they have put Ghana through, what the statement is really saying about the economy. I think producers will project it. Okay, so that's it you have on your screen. It says S&P Global Ratings. Ghana downgrades to CCC plus stroke C from B minus stroke B on intensifying financing and external pressures. Outlook negative. Actually, when you look at the ratings of S&P, if they take you to CCC, you are tagged as a junk economy. So we'll put it there later for you to get how the ratings are tagged. So the negative is out. The outlook is negative. August 5, 2022. This is where it came out. The COVID-19 pandemic and Russia-Ukraine conflict have exacerbated Ghana's fiscal and external imbalances. The government has taken steps towards consolidating the fiscal deficit, including the recent passage of the exemption bill, but high borrowing costs and softening growth make it challenging to put to GDP on a downward path. In light of the government's elevated net and gross financing needs and limited access to external capital markets, as well as the domestic financial markets constrained financing capacity, we lowered our foreign and local currency sovereign ratings on Ghana to CC plus. Stroke C from B minus stroke B. The outlook is negative, reflecting Ghana's limited commercial financing options and constrained external and fiscal buffers. All right, do I have more? Okay, so the rating action on August 5, 2022, S&P Global Ratings lowered its foreign and local currency sovereign ratings on Ghana to CC plus stroke C from B minus. Outlook, the negative outlook reflects Ghana's reduced fiscal, monetary, and reserve buffers in the face of multiple external shocks, as well as intensifying domestic fiscal and financing challenges against a backdrop of lower than expected economic activity. So this is the ratings. CC plus, C junk. Economy 2022 in August, B plus, very high. So these are the tags for the ratings. In 2022, we were B, very high credit risk in 2022. Am I getting this correctly? In 2021, it was B. I think there's a mistake in the first one. In 2021, it was B, negative. 2021, B, negative in 2020, B, negative in 2019, B, stable in 2018. I mean, you might have the negative, but the indices might be different, so yes. So in 2018, it was stable, but it was B. And in 2017, it was positive, it was B minus. In negative, in 2016, it was negative, that was a B. And then in 2015, it was so negative, and it's B. But the first one, the very high risk in 2022, I think we have to check that ratings and please make the correction. That's not what is supposed to be there. The first one, very high risk in 2022, it's not, yes, it's not a B. So please, let's make that correction. But I already have some of the guests in the studio. Okay, we can go through what the GUTA is saying. If I can have the GUTA statement projected so we can just get straight into the discussion. Okay, so GUTA's press statement says business bleeding to death. That's if they are not already dead. As a result of the current exchange rate situation in the country, businesses are seriously bleeding to death. The government, therefore, needs to do something to salvage the situation as soon as possible. We want to call the attention of the government to the fact that depreciation of the cedi against other major trading currencies is getting out of hand. And the increase in the monetary policy rate is also leading to high lending rate in the country. Okay, businesses have reached a situation where its survival is seriously threatened if no immediate action is taken by the government to find solutions. By this statement, we are calling on the government as a matter of urgency to reconvene the Foreign Exchange Committee that was set up a few years ago by the Finance Ministry, which involved all relevant stakeholders to help find immediate solutions. So Foreign Exchange Committee, they are calling for it to be reconvened. Okay, so that's it. I think that's it for GUTA. Okay, it could be recalled that since December 2021, when the dollar was 6.4 cedis, our working capital had been depleted by 40%. Now that the dollar has reached about 9 cedis, it has reached, in fact, it has passed 9 cedis, point something. They don't like it when you round it up. So, okay. So we round it up backwards to 9 cedis. Our worst fear is that we are now going to make Christmas orders from our suppliers, which may aggravate the situation. Right. Okay. If immediate remedial measures are not taken to control the alarming situation, we may be using 1 million Ghana cedis to buy only $100,000 when the dollar reaches 10 cedis. That's the 10 Ghana cedis. At this point in time, if nothing is done, speculations would be rife. And serious panic will set in for the people to invest in Forex as a matter of security, yes, for their hard-earned working capital, thereby making the control. Okay, so we recognize that excessive importation of is one of the major causes. Here, we think that the government has failed to take due advantage of the national investment laws, especially for foreign retail trade and wholesale to tighten importers. Allowing foreigners into the retail trade and wholesale sectors of the economy will not help this country, but rather defeat the action plans for the implementation of YD1F, that's after as well, and then the general business environment. We also want to remind the government that the big time institutional importers, especially those who serve conduits, also who serve as conduits, dumping goods mainly from China, are the culprits. Small and medium-scale importers like GUTA members import only 15% out of the whole volume imports into the country. For the locals, the import business has become gloomy and pathetic. As the multinational have taken over. We have started looking out for goods to export, to support the economy and to be able to sustain our businesses. But the same cannot be said of these foreigners. We therefore suggest, since they do not bring any physical cash into to invest, but rather resort to dumping the repatriate our hard-earned foreign exchange into the country, blah, blah, blah. So I think we have an idea of what GUTA is trying to say. And we're privileged to have Mr. Joseph Obing, who is the president of GUTA, with us here in the studio. Mr. Obing, you're welcome. Good afternoon to you. I also have Mr. Daniel Osabote, who is an economist and a lecturer at ATU. Somebody, you're welcome. Someone sends his greetings to you.
Thank you.
On Facebook. I think I just will do the privilege to mention the person's name. He's called Paul William Sofori.
That's for my students. They are 1,001. So
okay. It's good to be a teacher. Yeah. Anyway, let me go straight to Guta, especially with the problem of foreigners taking over retail businesses. Have we done anything for? I remember from 2006, I have reported on foreign businessmen taking over retail business. To date, I'm still reporting on it. So, to me, the situation, the government did nothing about the situation, and it has worsened. Not so.
Exactly so. And it is very unfortunate. It seems that they do not take advantage of our investment laws to solve a problem. The major problem is excessive importation, and the problem does not come from the indigenes, the locals. That's what I took my time to explain, the volume that we do. Because mostly when there's a problem like this, what everybody says is that you people import too much, even toothpick, and if the SM rate go up, but where the problem is not ours. That's why I've taken my time to draw the government attention to the fact that the bulk of importation is not being done by the Ghanaians. We are doing only 15%, and the multinationals, are doing 85%. And there you have the opportunity to suppress importation by virtue of amending your investment laws. Simple. Let's take China Mall, for instance. They bring the money, they are served as the conduit of dumping of goods from China. They are manufacturers' representatives here. And so the manufacturers just offload their goods that are not being sold, choked one, and give to them at cheaper prices. When they come and open their company here, the investment law does not require them to invest physically, cash, deposit at the Bank of Ghana, so that they use that money to change for the goods that they bring. They just open the accounts, start business. They don't have any stake in the country. My grandmothers or fathers have to weed cocoa farms and get the proceed, and I have the right to trade. They do not have equal right. At least they have the right to also come and bring in something. That's all investment is about. Investment does not allow them to just come and take everything whole without bringing anything. Yeah. And that's what we have been telling them. That if even you tell them to come into the trading space, then let them bring equity capital of what they will use to transfer this money. But it should not be that they come here, be the conduit of excessive importation from a huge country like China, and then go to China Mall. You see that people have queued. About 30% of sales that used to go on at Opera Square, Tudu, and Okanshi is being down at that place, because the presumption here is that we go to China and buy. So once they are Chinese and they are here, their goods is supposed to be cheaper than us. So everybody has swooped there, and they did not bring equivalent amount of investment here so that they can rely on it. Are we not deceiving ourselves? And then the juiciest part of the economy of this country is being owned or dominated by foreigners. The juiciest part, what companies are these? You talk about the extractive industry, you talk about the oil, you talk about banking, you talk about communication. These are the huge volume business area that command the bulk of our resources. And we have only our taxes to contend with. And maybe some royalties that will go to the landowners. The rest of the resources, benefits, profits, and all that go to them, and they repatriate it whole. What retention policy do we have as a nation? We do not have any retention policy by way of deliberate government investment in those juiciest parts of the economy, or even by way of making the investment law to structure it that you do not give it whole to you, communication, and that the locals should have a share of 40%. That should be a matter of policy, and then it will ensure retention. We do not have any retention of the good resources that turn up into this country. Why am I so stressed in talking about this? We have been getting surplus in balance of trade. We have been getting balance of trade surplus since 2019. Which means that our currency should have been strengthened, because export overweighs that of import, isn't it? So why is it that while we have achieved balance of trade surplus, we are not getting the strength of our currency? Then you ask, what is the problem? Because the demand far outweighs the supply of the limited foreign exchange that we've gotten, even through the surplus. So what is the pool of this demand? That's the excessive trading, the importation by these people who have not brought equal amount of investment, but they are relying on what? Because theirs is not a productive one. Theirs is so negative. So if you do not make your investment law to such that they bring in something, even when we are talking about we locals patronizing made in Ghana goods, the factories here do not have shops. We buy the made in Ghana goods, and then the shop force, we import it. So the locals even buy and patronize the made in Ghana goods. Can that be said of the foreign entities here, the supermarket, the shop rights, the shopping malls and all that? At least your investment law should have dictated to them what they should do to patronize the made in Ghana goods by way of instructing them to put more than 30% or 40% of their shelf life of about 40% of made in Ghana goods, so that when you go to the shopping malls, you will see the made in Ghana sections where they are also selling. They don't do any of this, and they just bring these goods whole without bringing corresponding amount that they will use to transfer these monies. What are you doing to the economy? Then the efforts for you to do the 1D, 1F, it will then be collapsed. Your industrialization drive will be collapsed. The after is a mirage. How are we going to be competitive?
Not to cut you, Mr. Sabote, you are a professional economist. I read small economists in the university. Every time these issues come up, I go back to the basics. Like Dr. Baumia says, the fundamentals are weak. If the fundamentals are weak, I assume that the fundamentals he was referring to at the time of his address, he was not even thinking of the fundamentals I am thinking. I'm thinking of the very basic fundamentals, to the core. Our economy has taken off as a developing country. You need to educate your youth, yes, but you also need to industrialize. Which one comes first? Because when this government came in, most of the promises it made to do, you expected that there will be a radical change in policies. So there were new policies that came in. We thought that, well, it might benefit the country. There was free SHS policy, you need to put finances too. There was 1D, 1F, which was definitely going to help in industrialization. But you could tell that even with the 1D, 1F, it's more like we are doing more of the partnership, the PP partnership, more than maybe the government putting up an industry on its own, employing more Ghanaians, and manufacturing a more competitive products that we can also benefit from. We still import. In fact, our importation have exceeded the percentage that we had before. There isn't a clear-cut approach, I don't know, with managing the economy. So we know which one comes first. We are borrowing to service debt. We've been doing that since. It's not this government that was doing it. But I expected that with all that this government said, it probably would have done something different. In fact, it is not doing something different, but something worse than what the previous administration was doing. So how do we have thrown the economy out of gear. We don't really need, I think S&P, they're even late in giving us the ratings. We knew that this was going to happen. If it's not even worse, maybe they just want to be charitable with us. How have we, what's the plan?
Yeah, thank you. It's unfortunate because this problem has been staring at us in the face for years. And one would have asked, does it mean we don't know how to solve it, or we are pretending not to have the solution to this problem? The fundamental is so weak in that you have a situation, as my brother rightly narrated, where only 15% of your locals are directly into importation. 85% are done by multinationals. One would have expected that with these relaxed policies, laws, just to attract the multinationals into the country, I mean, the foreign direct investment, we're expecting to have gotten something better and not to bring in these multinationals for them to be engaging in retail trade. So you could see that fundamentally something is wrong.
But you have the law that's even guiding you on what to do.
Exactly.
So what are we doing differently from what the law we have couched says?
You see, so, Anne, the problem is that we have brilliant laws. I always say that if you are looking at laws globally, Ghana, I would say we are on top. But the enforcement of the law, are we ready to enforce the law? That's the problem. You know, you spend so much in importing. Are you strengthening the local people to also go into production? So the foreign currency that you need to bring in the goods will reduce. But here's the case, we are importing everything. Things that should be in the hands of locals are being taken over by foreigners. So sometimes I ask myself, does it mean that the regulators are not aware that we have foreigners who are directly involved in retail trading? Could it also be that we use Ghanaians as conduit? And if that is what is happening, can't the law catch up on them? Because what I also heard from other areas was that you may find it difficult to give license to maybe a foreigner to engage in retail trade. But where he comes in and he says that I am partnering a Ghanaian, and then he will use a Ghanaian to register his retail business.
Okay, that's why you're saying we're using them as conduits.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that is where we have the problem. So in addressing this issue, we should look at all the possibilities. Because if you go this way, the Ghanaian is likely to go the other way. So we should be able to address this issue holistically. Because, my sister, when I read the S&P downgrade, and I was taken aback. I don't know, but I realized that we are in economic crisis, and if care is not taken, we are heading towards full-blown economic crisis.
This is right.
Why am I saying this? Because if you look at the rate at which the cedi is reducing in terms of value, it's scary. You need 9 cedis. Is it 13 pesos or so to get 1 cedi? At the end of the day, this is passed on to the final consumer. At the end of the day, the capital of the businessman is depreciated because the purchasing power of 500 cedis 2 years ago or a year ago or even 6 months ago is not the same power that we have as we speak. So 2 things will be happening. Either that businessman will not be able to, go in for more goods or produce more, That is one. Or he will need more capital to engage in the same business. And this is not helping the economy. We have a situation where inflation is almost 30%. Almost 30%. And I was saying the other day that even if you look at the projected figures by government, in terms of the value, in terms of the strength of the cedi, let's even assume that government is able to, now it has been revised to about 91 billion or so. Let's even assume that government is able to achieve the entire 91 billion. What that 91 billion can do will be less than what that same 91 billion could do a year ago or 2 years ago. Now, when it comes to the payment side, we are servicing debt. And as we speak, we spend almost 37 billion out of the projected 100 billion to service debt. Now it has been revised to 41 billion. So all these things come into play when you are being, when we are giving this credit rating. Look, S&P considered so many factors. They didn't just wake up to tell us that we are now CC plus C or whatever. Lots of factors were considered. One of the major factors has to do with our foreign reserves. We are depleting the foreign reserve. Why? Because in an attempt to solve this depreciation of the cedi, we keep on injecting foreign currency into the system.
Which is temporal
exactly,
and very...
And it has been the practice. It has been the practice. We are not ready to put in place long-term measures.
Yeah.
It has been the practice. So anytime we go in for a loan, all that we do is to shore up the economy with this dollar. And over time, here is the case, we cannot get external loans.
So I was thinking this. So, you know, when the ratings come in, they only come in to give you an outlook.
Yes.
A credit outlook.
Yes.
To put it, for want of a better economic way, a credit outlook that will make you look attractive to any investor, or any support from any other agency.
Yes.
I'm thinking, as a country, we are too focused on what these rating agencies are doing. So once they rate you and you are A minus or A or B plus, we're excited. And then we relax. And then we go in for more loans. And silly enough, I mean, sorry to use this word, but silly enough, when we go in for the loans, we do not put the loans in productive areas where it can repay itself. So yes, we need children to go to school. So we put the children in school. Finance minister says, oh, I think we have to do targeting so that those who can pay should pay. And then let's target the poor communities who cannot afford at all. We didn't listen to him, even though he himself is a corporate. You know, and we're still doing a wholesale.
Yeah.
So we're putting this money at a place where we cannot recoup it even in a long term. I do not know, I cannot put a figure to how long it would take for these children to grow up and come and be productive to the country so that we can benefit from what we have invested. And then we say 1D, 1F. One district, what?
One factory.
And the other one? One
something, 1 million, eh? They will give...
1 million, one constituency.
One constituency.
There's one village, one dam. How are these paying for themselves? We have gone for loans, for goodness sake. You cannot take loans as a businessman and misuse it or misapply it to your business. You need to repay back the loans. Yeah. So that I just see if you draw a tree or a plant, we're just there.
And you see, it is like somebody going for a loan to marry.
Maybe.
Yeah. Why am I saying this? You see, loan is not any bad thing. I always say that. It is a way of investing. So you're going for the loan. Have you identified an area to invest that money such a way that that particular project can pay for the loan, pay itself?
And even you benefit.
The interest. Now, let me give you an example. One government went in for a loan and then extended the Kotoka International Airport. That was a huge project. If they tell you today how much benefit that is accruing to the country, you'll be surprised. So we ask ourselves, where exactly have we been putting our loans? And do we also make projections in terms of the cash flows? Are we projecting that within 5 years we'll be able to recoup? Are we projecting that within 10 years we'll be able to recoup? Free SHS is an excellent idea. But the question is, do we have what it takes in sustaining it? Or we are just interested in mass production? Fine, we are developing human capital. But if after developing the human capital, there is no space for them, what have you done? You end up getting more unemployed graduates in the system. And that is what we are experiencing now. Those in the system, we are not even getting jobs for them. You talk of teachers. You talk of nurses and other specialized areas. So we shouldn't over-rely on just the mass production. But we should also think of where to place them after they have gone through their programs. You see, so, Anne, it is unfortunate, but I think that all is not lost. We need to put in immediate measures to arrest the situation. And I believe that with the suggestion from Guta, if government will embrace it, it will work.
You said they should reconvene the Foreign Exchange Committee.
Exactly. It's very important.
What exactly would they come in to do?
Yeah, because
let me read this. We're expecting to speak with Dr. Marcus Ibeyeboah. We haven't gotten him yet, but he says here in the informal paper, he says that going by the aforementioned, therefore, Dr. Ibeyeboah has suggested that Ghana need to tie down a fund program as soon as practicable in order for us to be able to restructure our debt. Yes. Our debt definitely need restructure, but don't we have a structure for our debt? Or we don't know?
Are we going by the structure? Because, you see, when it comes to structuring debt, if you are spending so much, like this interest payment, is there a way of getting another fund that will, like a sinking fund sort of, that will help reduce the burden on government? Because it is a key thing that go into what? Credit rating. How much are you spending?
Now we don't have anything in the sinking fund. No. It's a name now. There's no money in it.
So, how much are you spending in servicing your debt? It is very key. Because if you are spending almost half of your total revenue for the entire year to service debt, then it's serious.
Yeah, it's very important that we reconvene that committee that involved stakeholders. You know, in times like this, where things seem to have come to an end like this, we swallow our pride in a way. If you recall, the previous government, they converge when they have a problem like this at Senchi and all that. Then you brainstorm. Definitely you will get ideas out of it. And that's why it's important that the stakeholders also are made to meet and to prefer some solutions as to what. It will surprise you to know that we will go there and the ideas that we give to government will go a long way to support them in their quest to stabilize the currency. And this is what we want to do.
The banking cleanup exercise. What was the situation in 2019? What was the impact on Guta?
Yeah. At that time, let me give you one scenario, and then you will understand the reason why the course of government was in the right direction. A colleague had sold goods on Friday, and he sold about 100,000, that's 1 billion. And so he couldn't have put in his shop. So across the street is a microfinance company that also doubles as a bank, like a savings and loans and all that. Across the street, he has put the money there, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, he was going to change the money to go to Dubai and buy his goods. It took him almost 1 year, 2 years. He was not getting this money till the banks were consolidated, he was made to go under one of the consolidated banks before gradually he was able to get such a person. Then he finds a solution in what the government did. So we cannot.
That could be applied to other businesses.
Exactly. So it was not bad in all, but my problem is that when we are doing it, we should have found a way to also maintain some of the local banks. Because as it were now, the local banks are just a few. And then these repatriation issues that we're talking about, the bulk of it comes from the foreign banks. When they are, because their headquarters is not here. Their headquarters may be in Nigeria, South Africa, and somewhere, and they also repatriate. I keep on the local content, because a nation should not be built, though foreigners help building a nation, but the bulk of it should come from within, so that we can retain, other than somebody taking it all to another country. And so that's the area that, for me, that exercise probably should have looked into, so that we could have gotten some of these local banks still be in place. Yeah.
You remember, I think at that time when banks were being collapsed, we also changed their, what do you call it, their capital, what they need. The minimum capital, we increased it. And that also actually sort of affected the local banks. And I remember at the time, Dr. Ndum had commented so much that when you're even increasing the minimum capital, you should consider local banks and make their limits different and more favorable than the foreign banks, because foreign banks definitely have the huge financial support, but local banks don't.
Anne, please, if I should come in. Even in our press statement, you didn't read that aspect. We also drew government attention on the foreign direct investment. That also is a great loophole for our resources to be siphoned away. If you recall, most times they will mention that we've gotten direct investment of about 4 billion. And if we talk about now, we are going for IMF and we are seeking 1.5 billion. But if you say that 4 billion have come into your investment through direct foreign direct investment, it means that we have to see monumental things. And then employment going up, and so many things, businesses opening up, infrastructure coming with it. If you do not see it, then you have a problem. Because we do not normally, it does not correspond with the values that they talk. You know why? These values are overpriced. The investment, the so-called investment that they say they bring in and all that, if the person is bringing 5 million as an investment and all that, you will quote it 25 million. Because we don't have a way to verify it, the authenticity. And what is the reason for overpricing it? It means that the person has the right to repatriate $25 million at the branch side of government.
Which has been going on.
Yes. And this is what is going on. And so we should also put them on the satellite. Because after all, we pampered the foreign direct investment so that they will show up employment. Do we see it? We don't see it. And then all the incentives in the country go to them. All the incentives. Where the locals do not even have say. Because we want to attract foreign direct investment. And still we say that there's no employment. And yet we've given it all to them. When they have gotten it for about 5 years, if the exemption ends 5 years, then they resell the company to their sister company. And this is what I'm telling you. If you are not able to identify these things and then seal out the gray areas and all that, this thing will be done in perpetuity. We'll always be assembled here and be talking about this. We have to think through these areas.
It's just how I feel. I keep, because I host programs, I just keep, it's cyclical. We keep talking about the same thing, and you're wondering, even you, what you're doing with your life as a journalist. I'm not wasting my time.
It's not interesting.
Yes.
You see, and I've been saying that it appears we don't learn from our mistakes. Okay? How do you use conventional way of addressing issues when you can adapt the unconventional? We are talking about inflation. We are talking about depreciation of the cedi. Don't we know the real causes? We know. And are we ready to support and to sort of help the local man or woman to, beef up his or her business? Are we ready to support them? We are not doing it. And you see, with the competition from outside, it is difficult for somebody here with little capital to compete with a multinational.
So we'll be back shortly to wrap up. The issue is that, yes, we know that we're hit with the Russia-Ukraine war, we're hit with COVID-19, but if your fundamentals are strong, you still will get going and won't be where we are. So we use 25 billion to collapse banks, and we want to get the support of 1-point-something billion from IMF to save the whole economy. Is the economy collapsing? We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. We're on Good Afternoon Ghana, and we're going to wrap up pretty shortly. I still have Daniel Osabote, who's an economist, with me, and I have Dr. Joseph Obing, president of GUTA. And I was expecting to get Mr. Osabote, Dr. Sibe. Yeah, we're still not successful to raise him on the phone, so I'm sorry about that. But we'll still go on. Well, the issues are many. If he comes, he might even take all the time. So let's move. I said earlier on that the ratings just put your economy in a certain picture, either in a comfortable lead or to be in the bottom. And currently we're in the bottom. To me, we must be happy that, okay, maybe we're looking good before, but you've been brought down to the bottom. So it's an opportunity for you to put all things together, where from your side as GUTA, from local production and industrialization, we now have to begin to pick the pieces and put it together and forget these ratings, forget about the agencies. Let's close the economy and start from the base, do something, build by ourselves. We have to, if we're biting the bullet, let's bite it now.
Thank you very much. This is the way I'm also thinking. And that's what from yesterday, from Friday, I've been talking about. That, yes, we have global effect of the COVID and then the Ukraine-Russia war. Nobody can take away that fact, that it is also impacting on the problem that we are facing. Mm-hmm. But can we dwell on this as a problem? No. Mm-hmm. When crises come, because this situation is not, we are not peculiar to this, it is the whole world. Mm-hmm. And some countries are doing well. So it should be able to bring out the best of the leadership in us. Mm-hmm. That's all, and the best as people in us, as Ghanaians. So I don't want us to even be complaining, much as I admit that it is part of the problem that we are encountering. Then, like Anne is saying, we have to overlook that, even the ratings and all that, and then come out and bring innovative solutions, and then think outside the box. This is what we have to be doing now. And then we go along with all Ghanaians in general, divide of politics. Let's shield politics and save the nation. And we have to go along with government, but government have to show the way. If we are not able to do that, then we are being taken for a ride as Ghanaians. And that business is run like as if we are running business. So business people understand running of governance. It's only that we don't have the opportunity. So when we see that things are not going the way that we would have run our businesses, then we become so frustrated. After all, what is it? That you bought things, the expenses that you made on the things, and then you sold it. And so the profit against the expenditure. That's all governance is about. How do we manage? And then we manage it well, and then from nowhere, from tabletop and all that, people are able to build hotels and all that. Means that the person have done successful in management on his economy in his own way. That's the larger...
But to be fair, it may not be as simple as you have described it. Because it might be you are trading in maybe fabrics or cloth, and it's a a buy and sell. You do
No,
your credit
I'm
and
just
balancing.
talking about the principle.
Yeah, but you might also have
expenditure and because
you might also have another branch of maybe selling food. So you have to do the balancing one, make sure that everybody is benefiting.
I will do that. But what I'm also trying to say is that I believe that the government can do something. And I believe that the resources that we've given to government, he has the capability to solve this. But what I'm thinking, and what the inferences and then the references and the information that I'm getting from the trading sector is that are we deliberately doing devaluation or what? If that is so, then it's also not the right approach. I'm just bringing this to bear because it is also another way that isn't direct taxation or something to shore up revenue and all that. If it is the way to go, then we say that from December, the value of the city have dwindled, have depleted of over 30%, then we can't go on. And this is what we want to draw the government attention to it. So government, we all have to rally behind government. And like I said, we have to reconvene the forest committee, including all stakeholders and all that. And even if we can bring some people on the other side, so that we brainstorm and find a permanent solution to this place, it would have helped us.
Okay.
When we do not manage it well at this time, when speculation, as I said, set in, then people are going to trade in this currency as a security. It means that they have lost confidence in the value of the city in its entirety, and then they will then put all their resources and buy it. When that happens, then controlling the currency or the stability of the currency then become a very huge problem as it has happened before.
This one says that, Annie, how do you expect dollar to perform well, whereby if someone who is not a Ghanaian sends you money from abroad through MoneyGram, Western Union, and etc., or transfer money to your bank account through Visa card, the government will return the money back? Is this how to fight fraud? They forget that without foreign remittance, the dollar will suffer. With the way government is handling things in this country, will only lead to collapse the economy, and it has been already happening before our eyes. This one also says, I think our leaders don't understand business because they don't own one. They don't understand what collapses businesses and what brings profits. I think Ghana should be run by a businessman. Good work, Guta President. Keep it up. Why don't we get cut off mark for BEC graduates entering SHS? Why do you admit candidates would aggregate 51? They can't even read. Come to Nkwetia. In the Agona East, in the Central Region, teachers are suffering because most of them can't even read. Nonetheless, we're spending huge sums of money on them. Call it free SHS. Mr. Sabote, last word, just 2 minutes.
Yes, Anne, we have the solution. The solution is for government to eat humble pie, open up,
cut down government size. Stop giving loans for now. These are low-hanging fruits that we should be tearing for now. I mean, now nobody should be living in comfort.
We are in crisis. And anytime you are in crisis, there are desperate measures that you have to take. Okay? Now, we are talking about windfall. I asked this morning, what are we doing today? Windfall. Because one way or the other, we are also benefiting from the hike in petroleum prices. We are getting some monies because the petroleum products also leave our shores. So that's windfall. We can use it to also augment certain areas. Yes, we heard the finance minister mention that it will be used to balance our deficit in a way. But as to the exact area that particular windfall will be going to, we don't know. So we want to suggest that we should look at the agric sector. We have food in the villages so cheap, but when those food items get to the cities, very expensive. So transportation is what is killing
You
farmers.
see the video that was trending with the yams that were harvested?
Yes.
And I mean,
100 cities. Those tubers will get to Accra, and you have about 300-400 or something. You see? So we see all these things, and I'm saying that we have the solution. So we should open up, allow people to come on board. And as my brother rightly mentioned, this one should be devoid of political, manipulation, looking at it from other political angles. Because what you have gotten to, it is not about NDC, it is not about NPP, it is not about any political party. It is about the Ghanaian. Okay? So we need to quickly put in measures. And one of them, I mentioned it, that with this foreign reserve, to show up our foreign reserve, government now says that they have to be, Bank of Ghana will be buying gold from the domestic market. If it is something that can be done, I'm all out for it, because it will also help. That will strengthen our currency, because a currency with very low foreign reserve will be a junk currency.
And it is a junk. Our time is up. It is a junk. Thank you. We will do this again because we're still grappling with the situation. So we'll have you again. Daniel Sabote is an economist and senior lecturer at ATU, and also Dr. Joseph Obing, also is president of GUTA. I am Ania Frampong. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. We'll be doing some more analysis later. Thank you. Join Metro TV.